here with Meg McLain, a good friend and awesome activist in her own right. She's joining us from the Richmond, Virginia area. Thanks for being with us, Meg.
Thanks for having me on, Pete.
Do you want to share a little bit about like a background, maybe a quick overview so folks know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, I was a liberal growing up as a kid, and I actually, once I tried to use the liberal, system, I found out that it's not set up in the way that you would think, and it's actually much more detrimental to people than it is helpful. And the whole basis of liberalism is having a bleeding heart to want to help everybody. And I came to find that the ideas of liberty actually do that much better than the liberal views that I once held. So I started getting into that, and then one of the things that I really focused on was like police corruption and police abuse of power, because I found that that was the most immediate and most violent thing that was happening to innocent people around the world for, various things. But in America, for anything from, having a plant that people don't like to recording people who don't like being recorded and everything in between. So I started doing some activism with that, and then kind of found my niche, not so much in the political realm, but more the civil disobedience, non-cooperation realm, because that was, I always use the EMT reference or fire truck reference when people say that, like, oh, you're just out there, narcissist trying to get attention. And I say, yeah, yeah, we're trying to get attention. But when a fire truck goes down the street blaring its sirens and whatnot, it's not calling attention to itself to say, hey, check me out, I'm awesome. It's, saying, hey, there's danger, you could get hurt. And that's, basically what my activism is doing, is just trying to yell out to people, hey, there's a problem out here and it's going to hurt you. So
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So, and you've been involved in activism in Keene. You've been arrested, a part of the crackdown at the TSA down in Florida.
I was visiting you.
Yeah, vocally spoke out and stood up for your rights, and you were involved with even like something as trivial as reaching consensual interactions with people for over lemonade sales.
Yeah.
In DC, dancing.
It seems like I keep telling people, oh, my activism lately is centered around children's activities, which is really sad because there's still that fraction of the, very status population who's been indoctrinated who think I deserve to sit in a jail cell for, months or even years for those actions because, I knew going into it that I was violating the law, so I should have known better and I should be punished, but I don't think those people really understand what jail is.
Right.
So, if they knew, they might not be so quick to say so.
Yeah, and I would think that part of the reason why you're acting is for, for the next generation, and as cliche as it is, for the children,
Yeah, I mean, people always say, think of the children, but then they just want to, make restrictions on the children's lives as opposed to actually helping them. And, with all the articles that you see lately of especially like police arresting children at school for truancy or for, just roughhousing like children do, everything under the sun, it's like people just accept it now. They accept a 6-year-old being tased while in handcuffs, that seems acceptable to them. And, when people say think of the children now, I'm always like, I gotta slap you and tell you what that really means, don't I?
Right on. Well, tell me about what do you have going on coming up? I know you and Nate Cox recently announced a project.
Yeah, well, Nate, he's amazing guy, amazing activist down here, and he always puts, every effort and all his extra money and everything like that into his activism. But he does work a lot as well. But a couple weeks ago, he lost his full-time job. It's it's just horrible for veterans right now. They can't keep a job for the life of them. So he decided that, since he has proven himself, and, I think I've proven myself over the past few years as very active activist, very vocal activist, very, outgoing activist, that...
And effective.
If we can... we came up with this idea for this project that if we can get people to help fund it and maybe help us out for a month, we would be willing to do full-time, 8 to 10 hours a day, 40 hours plus a week of full-time activism within this area. And our idea is to make these packets. It's like an educational information packet, 10,000 of these packets, and go around Richmond everywhere from, courthouses, especially targeting the very police-targeted areas like, lower income areas, urban housing, stuff like that. we're going to reach out to these people with packets of information that we feel is right now the most immediate, effective information that we can give people, which includes, of course, the idea of liberty, a pamphlet on just, the whole, what is liberty, what is the non-aggression principle. It's written in a way that's almost for children, like the language is so utterly simple that when you read it, you kind of think, how did I not know this before? It's almost stupid that I didn't know this. And next thing that we're going to tackle is the police accountability and knowing your rights, because that is especially a big issue with like low-income people. I've seen people's lives just ruined over stupid little things, and one of the main reasons that happens is people just don't know their rights. And so, 9 times out of 10, it's a person gets caught doing something illegal just because they didn't know that they had the right to tell a cop that, no, you can't search my property, or, I'm not going to answer your questions. People don't understand those things. And so we want to educate them on that. And then we're also going to include information on jury nullification, which is another very immediate response of, a jury can decide that, hey, this law is bad. It's not that this person did something bad. It's this law is wrong. So we're going to get rid of that. And then finally, we're also going to cover don't take a plea deal concept, which is, the whole idea of everything from parking tickets to, possession, anything like that. If everybody takes those full to court to trial, the system would not be able to handle that amount of caseload, because right now I think it's like 98-99% of people just pay their tickets to make it go away, and they don't understand that that's how the system runs. It's relying on you to just go along to get along, and if you don't do that, if even just a fraction of people don't do that, then they can't handle it, and so they either have to stop writing all these tickets and arresting people for frivolous causes, or they're going to have to come up with a lot more money, which means cracking down on more people, which means more people reacting. And so it's just, all these concepts that we're going to include in this packet, they're very immediate, and they also have very immediate, results. And so since we'll be targeting certain areas, it's going to have an effect instantly. It's going to help these people instantly. It's not going to be, sign some petition and maybe in a year we'll get a law changed that, they can just change back anytime they want, and you still got a million other things that are going to hurt you. These are things that right now can really, really help these people.
Right on. It's what makes me really excited and think that y'all's project, the Liberty Empowerment Project, has a lot of potential because, like you said, the prose that y'all are using it's very clear, but at the same time it strikes the root, and it kind of reminds me, it's reminiscent to me of Thomas Paine's Common Sense back in the day. Just this information very sort of at a level that everyone can grasp, and it really just looks past all the I guess the sugar-coated sort of statist rhetoric and it reminds people that, hey, you have these rights and things like that, and like you said, it's immediate, so the impact can be right away. What website can folks go to find out more about this and this?
Well, there's a few different ones. We are mirroring on all 3 of these, but there's the virginiacopblock.org, which is the main site for the Virginia Cop Block stuff. Whoisnatecox.com, that's Nate's personal blog, which he just started. And then my website, which is megmclain.com.
Right on. Yeah, and I should mention, too, in addition to all your activism and outreach and stuff, you are an excellent graphic designer and videographer, so I know you've had a hand in designing some of the layouts of the resources, and I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, all the flyers that we're going to be using for this, actually everything, I all designed from either pamphlets that I had made before or input from other people and stuff like that. So it's really exciting for me because, I'm self-taught, and then I sort of jumped into this. I'm just going to support myself instead of, getting a job somewhere else and paying taxes. I'm just going to do this. And now that I actually get to see my stuff printed and people are, having it in their hands, reading it, it's impacting their lives. That's just such a gratifying experience. We're buying these plastic bags that kind of look like newspaper bags, so that when we go around door to door, knocking on people's doors, if somebody's not there, we can just hang it on their door handle. So it's not like we're just going to be, passing these out to people on the street that are going to instantly throw it in the trash without looking at it. It's like we're actually going to make the effort to go to people and not just hand it to them, but talk to them about it. Because, there's simple things that you can talk to people about that you can't really cover in text. Like a common thing that police use is this tactic where, if they want to search your car, they'll say something like, I'm going to have to ask to search your car. And people don't understand that the way they set that up, it makes it sound like, hey, you have no choice in this matter. I have to search your car. But they still have to say, I'm going to have to ask to search your car. And if they ask, just say no. And so, those kind of things you can't really explain in long paragraphs, all these different things. So we will be talking to people as well as handing out the information. And I think that's where this project goes even further. And especially, compared to political campaigns, like I said, if you want to go around and have a petition signed, maybe get a law changed, maybe get your guy in, it'll change in a year. Or, there's a million other things that are wrong. So, that maybe getting one thing changed just really isn't that kind of effort and money to us. And this is, for the price, which is very low, it's going to reach a lot of people.
Right on, especially with you and Nate. Again, both very accomplished activists, good people, and great communicators. I'm excited to see this hit the ground, and it could be something that gets replicated elsewhere based on the model you guys create. So, to me, it's just an example of sharing ideas one mind at a time, and I think you guys are advocating some ideas that really resonate with folks. And
yeah, and I mean, like the way that we're going about it too is we're asking for like all the printing fees and everything like that. That's our main cost for this project. We're not trying to make money off of it or anything like that. We're just trying to cover our costs. So all those are covered through our ad sales, which means that anybody who buys an ad, even though those ads are only 50 or $100, you're guaranteed to have that printed on 10,000, copies of it, handed out carefully to 10,000 different people. And so, you're guaranteed that exposure. And it seems like a lot more than you would get in other places. And we're still offering it at that low price just because we're not trying to make money off this. We're just trying to share knowledge. We feel that if we target especially these areas that we've been looking at that like are the places where police go and target people just for, they'll be jaywalking and so they'll stop them and try and pull up and see if they have warrants out or anything like that. Like these people get that a lot. And so if they had that kind of information and that knowledge to protect themselves, suddenly, that is going to be a big impact in that area. Whereas everyone else, you can post stuff online as much as you want. You can stand on a street corner and pass out a handful of things as much as you want, but it's not really going to make that dent. And that's what we hope to do with this project.
Right on. Well, Meg, I wish you and Nate and the Liberty Empowerment Project much success. I think taking the ideas to the streets and actually acting on these ideas really is going to have a big impact.
I'm pretty sure that myself and Meg, respectively, have proved ourselves through our activism and outreach over the last couple of years. And we're hoping to get your support for this next project.
So support us if you can, or if you can't, find somebody else who can, because we need to spread liberty in this area.